private investigator, what pops into your head? Probably some shadowy figure in a trench coat, right? Solving cases with a magnifying glass and, a gut feeling. Well, you might want to buckle up because the reality of private investigation today has changed more than you could possibly imagine. Let's get into it.
So on one side, you have that classic pop culture stereotype, the lone wolf, relying purely on instinct. But on the other side, that's the modern reality. Today's PI is a total tech-savvy pro, armed with AI algorithms, aerial drones, and digital forensic tools that can pull secrets from a single misplaced click. The game has been completely rewritten.
So how in the world did we get from trench coats to high-tech surveillance? Let's take a quick look back at the surprisingly long evolution of this profession.
Okay, so this all started way back with these informal thief-takers in Europe. But the first real formal agency, that was founded in Paris way back in 1833. Soon after, in 1850, the now famous Pinkerton Agency kicked off in the US. And for a long, long time, intuition was king. But then, forensic science, think DNA testing, came along and suddenly the focus shifted to hard scientific evidence. And then, well, the digital era happened and it changed literally everything.
Now, here's a really crucial point that a lot of people miss. PIs are not police detectives. It's a common mix-up. See, detectives work for the government. They focus on criminal cases, and they have the authority to make arrests. Private investigators, on the other hand, are hired by private clients, people, law firms, corporations, for a much wider range of cases, both civil and personal. And, critically, they have no power to arrest anyone.
And you can just forget that idea of some rogue agent operating in the shadows. This is not the Wild West. Private investigation is actually a highly regulated profession. In fact, more than 40 states in the U.S. have really strict licensing requirements. We're talking mandatory experience, tough exams, and deep background checks.
So, with all that history covered, let's get to the good stuff. What does a modern PI's toolkit actually look like today?
First off, their caseload is incredibly diverse. It's so much more than just cheating spouses. PIs are on the front lines of huge corporate investigations, sniffing out internal fraud that costs companies billions. They're hired by insurance companies to bust fraudulent claims, and they work for families on really sensitive child custody cases or to find missing loved ones when the official channels have gone cold.
So, how do they actually do it? Well, one of their most powerful tools is something called digital footprint analysis. You see, every single time you search for something, post on social media, or buy something online, you leave behind a trail of digital breadcrumbs. PIs are experts at following that trail to build an incredibly detailed picture of a person's life, their habits, and all their connections. It's all about finding the hidden story in the data.
But today, the biggest game changer isn't just the internet itself. It's the arrival of artificial intelligence. AI is completely reshaping the entire hunt for truth as we know it.
And this is where a really powerful concept called OSINT comes into play. It stands for Open Source Intelligence, and it's basically the art of gathering intel from publicly available data. Now, PIs have always done this, but AI has put the whole process on steroids. It can sift through billions of data points in seconds, connecting dots that a human investigator might miss in an entire lifetime.
And if you want to get a sense of just how massive this shift is, just follow the money. The market for AI-powered fraud detection alone is projected to be worth almost $32 billion by 2029. This is not some little niche tool. It's a huge economic force that's driving the entire industry forward.
But with all of this incredible power comes an immense amount of responsibility. This quote from Zach Seward at the New York Times, it's about journalism, but it applies perfectly to what we're talking about. When these powerful tools are unchecked or used without a really strong ethical compass, things can go south fast.
And that brings us to the central conflict of modern investigation, navigating this incredibly tricky ethical tightrope.
So you have to ask the question, is this new technology a powerful tool for justice, helping us find the truth and protect the innocent? Or does it just open the door to brand new, way more sophisticated forms of deception and invasion of privacy?
The answer? Well, it's both. Generative AI is a true double-edged sword.
On one side, security teams are using it to spot fraud and anomalies, but on the other side, criminals are using the exact same technology to create hyper-realistic deepfakes and super-advanced phishing scams. It's a full-blown arms race where both sides have access to the same powerful weapons.
So what that means is that the modern investigator is basically navigating a minefield of challenges every single day. They have to constantly balance a person's fundamental right to privacy against the public's interest in the truth. They have to make sure the data they find is actually accurate. They've got to comply with a whole web of complex data privacy laws like GDPR in Europe or HIPAA in healthcare. And, this is a big one, in corporate cases, they have to protect legal privilege, making sure their investigation's findings are legally protected.
So what does this all mean for the future of this job? What kind of skills does it take to be an investigator in this new era?
You know, you might think that the single most important skill for a modern PI would be coding or data mining or something techie like that. But it's not. The most crucial skill today is navigating the complex, murky ethics of technology. It's about knowing not just what you can do with these tools, but what you should do.
And all of this leaves us with a final, really big question to think about. That classic PI, they relied on their intuition, that gut feeling that something just isn't right. But in an age where AI can analyze data to predict our behavior with startling accuracy, what happens to that human element? What really is the future of intuition in the hunt for truth?